Yes, hey guys, Kevin Plowy here from Yahoo Entertainment. Welcome to Build Series, the greatest of all series. Our next guest shot to stardom for playing the lovable geekster Seth Cohen on the mid-aughts TV hit The OC, and has since been seen in films running the gamut of genres, from Mr. and Mrs. Smith to Thank You for Smoking to Scream 4 to this spring's Shazam. Next week, he stars in Ready or Not, a clever and bloody thriller about the most effed up game of hide and seek you will see on a movie screen this year. Adam Brody will join us in just a moment, but first, here's a sneak peek at Ready or Not.
We're gonna start the count. Good luck.
I can't believe that in half an hour, I will be a part of the Ladomus Gaming Dynasty Empire.
Dominion. We prefer Dominion.
I honestly can't wait to be a part of your family.
There's just one more thing, and then you are officially part of the family. So, at midnight, you have to play a game.
Why
It's just something we do when someone new joins the family.
a game? What game? Hide and seek? Are we really gonna play that?
Well, the rules are simple. You can hide anywhere. We then try to find you.
So there's no way for me to win, right?
And stay hidden till dawn.
No, thank you.
Good luck.
What the hell is this? How old is this thing?
I know you're in here.
Oh, Jesus, you shot the maid.
Does she look like she's wearing a giant white wedding dress, Emily?
Holy shit!
I had to play along so that I can get you out.
It's insane.
They think they have to kill you before sunrise, or something very bad will happen to the family.
If we don't find her and perform the ritual, we're all dead.
Found her.
God damn it! Emily!
I don't know what I'm doing!
And today's video is called Getting to Know Your Crossbow.
I forgot my gun.
Why don't you just use mine?
Mr. Ladomus, I just saw her running.
Oh my God!
You're just another sacrifice.
Do you think this is a fucking game?
Yes, hide and seek. Remember? You wanted to get married.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Guys, Adam Brody's here. Give it up. I said you were going to be here, and here you are.
I have risen.
And you have risen. This film is crazy. As you guys could see, it's I think you'd say fun for the whole family.
Bring the kids, bring the grandparents.
Yeah, really. Like it will not scar.
Go after church.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe like I'd say like maybe a double bill with Dora the Explorer. Like see Dora.
Oh, that's perfect because then everyone wins. Yeah.
Yeah, but congrats. In
Thanks.
seriousness, do not bring the kids. This movie is, as I said, all sorts of fucked up. But you are great in it. It is super
Thanks.
fun to watch.
It's my sweatiest performance to date. It is. If you've seen it, I'm sweaty. Would you agree?
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, you're going all night. You're drinking all night.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm sweaty.
I can see that. I do. I really enjoyed it. I do have. I'm going to get my complaint out of the way. Right off the bat. This is going to be harsh. At no point in this movie do we hear the 1996 classic Ready or Not by the Fugees. I know you were the music supervisor too.
Yeah,
right?
and I made the call that would have doubled our budget.
Ah, yes.
And also not quite in the spirit of the movie, as great as that song is in its own right.
Yeah.
This has more of a classical depravity.
Sure.
Feel.
I love how the trailer just totally recaptures the Righteous Brothers from Ghost. It's great. It conjures up something special.
Yeah, I don't feel too bad because exactly it's you don't want to take a great song. I mean, you do. It's kind of great, but you can take a great song and give it this horrible, ironic connotation. But because it's in Ghost, this is just the other side of the coin.
Right.
It'll go on.
Yeah. So the Fugees are not in this movie, but let's talk about what is in this movie. You're in this movie. All sorts of other talented folks I want to talk about. All sorts of shocks and surprises and thrills and a lot of A-grade blood splattering. There's some
There's good splatter.
Great splatter. Some of the best splatter. I've seen,
in a while.
I think in a long time.
Very satisfying splatter.
Yes, but you know, it's such a clever premise, and I think it's executed extremely well. Is this one of those scripts that you read and it just kind of pops off the page at you? What was your experience?
Yes, very much so. It's a very well constructed film. You know, it's a mouse trap. It's a cat and mouse. It's a lot of mouse analogies I'm going to use, and yeah, it's there's one situation after another. Somebody meets their fate after the other, and the tension gets higher and higher, and the clock's ticking, and it's very much a screenplay. It's a mood. It creates a mood as well, but the strength of this story is in the screenplay, as are most short movies, but this one especially so, I think. And it was a joy to read, which it can very easily not be. I mean, most things aren't.
Yeah.
And it also the screenplay as well as the movie builds, which is. It's got a great ending. It builds towards a great climax, which is also hard to do. And so, that was clever. The characters were well drawn, and I was in.
Yeah, but I agree with you. Like when you see the film, it's immersive. You feel like it's very atmospheric. I think that what the filmmakers were able to capture and bringing that from page to screen. But in terms of the premise, as the trailer sets up, it's about this very wealthy, very eccentric family.
It's funny because this big poster's right here, and I feel like I just want to as we talk about it, I just want to take it all in the whole time.
You want to gaze? Yeah. How are you looking on there? Do you
listen?
Did you get
not to brag, but I don't think I did, but I've got no complaints.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy with what they did with me.
Yeah.
Dapper and sadistic.
We see, and you've got plenty of fellow sadistic family members here. It's based on, it's about this family that forces this poor young woman into a horrible ritual. They're a gaming family, right? So they made their fortune off of like board games, and I think some other sort of like sports and rec.
Board games a long time ago, cards, board games, and in the modern era, sports teams. But they come from they're a gaming dynasty. You're Milton Bradleys, if you will.
Yeah. Parker Brothers.
Your Parker Brothers.
Did you talk to the writers? Was there like a family that they had in mind?
I didn't. I don't know. Even the our last name is Ladomas. We never really know how to say it. But it's loosely. It also sounds a lot like dumbass. And I think that's intentional.
Is that what they're going for?
I think so.
Is that what they're going? Yes.
Truly.
Yeah. That makes sense. They are ultimately probably
Ladomas.
I mean, I don't want to give too much away. But I love your character. It's Daniel, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm putting you on the spot here.
Whoa.
Yeah, this should be like an IMDb game. It might be where we're like, okay, let's name all of your movie characters.
No. It's definitely Daniel.
It's that we're gonna go with it. But he is, I think, one of the more intriguing characters in this film. And I'm not just saying that because you're sitting right here next to me. I wouldn't say that to any Ladomas who is here. I promise. But it is because you can't really tell which way he's leaning throughout the entire movie. I mean, he's basically her future, her new brother-in-law. He definitely harbors some serious resentment for his family. You can't really tell if he's a friend or foe, and it really keeps you guessing. Was that a sort of a fun dynamic to play with?
Yeah, very much. Got to play some inner conflict, and also just. Plain disgust is kind of fun, and I'm disgusted at my family. I'm disgusted at the game. I'm disgusted at my wife, and the only person I really love, and I'm disgusted at I hate myself in this movie, but I love my brother, and I think Grace, played by Samara Weaving, is she seems like a good person, and it's a sorry situation, and he's dragging his feet.
He's drinking a lot.
He's drinking a lot.
Drinking away the pain.
He's drinking away the pain of his entire life, certainly of this night.
Yeah.
And he's conflicted, to say the least.
What is the secret to playing like just dumb drunk?
As I said earlier, sweat helps. Just like wet me down, truly. And other than that, I don't know. You know, I mean, I think less is more, maybe, particularly if you're a real alcoholic. I mean, unless the scene calls for you to truly be stumbling and falling and stuff. It's like, I think, you know, if you're a seasoned alcoholic, you can actually probably hold it.
Yeah, he's definitely restrained. I feel like he's the type of guy who basically drinks to deal with his family.
Yeah,
So and like Thanksgiving
and his
around.
past trauma. I mean, this movie opens when him and his brother are about 8 and 10, and one of these rituals takes place that they both witness, and so he's kind of never gotten over it, and it's led him down a sad path.
Yeah. And you mentioned the lead, Samara Weaving, who I have to admit I wasn't like super familiar with prior to this movie, but she's fantastic.
Powerhouse. So good in it, and it's you know, I mean, you can tell by the poster a little bit. It does it justice. It's a cool role. It's not just a damsel in distress, and it's also not just she's a fighter. She kicks ass. She kicks fucking ass in it, and she's funny, and she's tough, and she's empathetic, and she runs a gamut. She's amazing in this.
Yeah, there was some imagery, and I mean this is a total compliment that reminded me of like Kill Bill.
Very much, me too.
It is, you know, when do you ever see a woman in a bridal gown who has to get her hands as dirty as she does in this movie, and really sort of over the course of events, kind of turns from, I think you can say, like prey to hunter, and really starts to have to kick some ass.
Yeah.
Do you kind of see? Did you see this film? You know, was this part of the appeal in terms of sort of like the movement that we're seeing in Hollywood with more kick-ass women, more just ass whoopery from female heroines?
It's the ass whoopery movement.
Yes. Did I just coin that? I'll take it.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm not going to go around saying that like it's the feminism that drew me to this movie, and this is a very feminist movie, because you know. I don't know that it is, but it is in that it's a great performance and a star performance. I mean, she's also the star of the movie. You leave the movie and it's like everyone's good in this. This is a great ensemble. Everyone in this poster has a fantastic moment or 5. But you leave and you just go, Samara, you're so amazing. You're like, well done. It's your movie. And so, I mean, in that sense, yeah. I mean, it is a strong female character, and she gets to have probably most of the fun. So.
And fun fact about her, she is the niece of Hugo Weaving, aka Agent Smith from The Matrix, among so many other great films and roles. So clearly in the bloodline there. We got to talk about the amazing American icon who plays your mother, Andie MacDowell. Were you a fan of course. What was your experience with her?
She's lovely. She's so sweet and so fun, so happy to be there, and we're all, you know, this whole gang would, you know, the setups, you go and you do a shot, and then they'd set up, and then we'd all be in a little room in our circular chairs talking and on our phones, and we, you know, in that regard, you spend a lot of time together, and it's also a lot of stuff in the middle of the night, and you get real loopy. Anyways, she's just like, I mean, I don't know her that well, but she seems like a good person, and certainly she's a lovely presence. She's a fantastic actor, and it's nice to subvert her very, you know, she normally plays, she's got a warm Southern accent. She plays such warm characters, and there is a warmth to this character as well, even though there's a sadism under it. And it's nice to see her in this genre and in this character subvert that. It's a powerful thing.
Yeah, I think she's another character that keeps you guessing, but it is a great performance. And yeah, and it feels new and fresh for her. I'm sure it's the first time we've heard her say "holy dick" in a movie. I would imagine. But do you let yourself, you know, when you work with someone of her caliber, do you let yourself geek out a little bit? Are you by craft services, and are you like, oh my God, look at all these granola bars, so Groundhog Day?
Yeah. I get starstruck like anyone. I mean, you spend a lot of time with these these freaks, and this is a joke, and then it can kind of wear off, but you know, some of my favorite, I when I've gotten to work with some big stars or people I knew from my youth, or it's a thrill. It's a thrill. And
what is the most starstruck that you've ever gotten?
I don't know the most, but a couple, like, I would say, like, Bruce Willis is very famous and iconic. And granted, he does a bunch of movies, and people, he's not a recluse. I mean, like, a lot of people have worked with him, but I did a movie with him almost a decade ago, but just getting to work with him. And it was a cop movie too. It was a comedy, but cop out. But but it was, we did a little shootout together and stuff. And that is always memorable to me. Just like, you know, fighting bad guys with Bruce Willis is like obviously a surreal thing. And I remember he said to me, and this goes back to my perspiration story earlier, but we were, you know, we're taking cover behind a wall, and he's got like dirt on him because he's been in the fight, and he hasn't. I don't think he's bleeding yet, but they're spraying him down with a can. He's like, "Come here, kid." Spray, you know, he's spraying me like so much, I'm dripping with all, you know, movie sweat. And he's like, "You always want blood, sweat, and dirt," and I've always thought that. I've always remembered that, and it's very true. That gives you some texture. Really is very cinematic, and it goes a long way. So Bruce Willis's acting tips: blood, sweat, and dirt.
Yeah.
Take it to heart.
I mean, that's why Die Hard's work so well. Right?
He's a bloody, sweaty, dirty man.
Did you guys film this in like a functional mansion? Was this?
There was a couple of mansions. One, and I loved the movie, although I haven't seen it in 20 years, but was apparently the Billy Madison house mansion.
It was.
Yeah. We did two different mansion houses in Toronto. One of them was the Billy Madison house.
Interesting.
So
we have to revisit that movie.
Yeah. It's a nice. It's a very versatile house. You know, they can play light comedy,
right?
Or
very
you know,
movies.
dark comedy.
Yeah. I mean, is that a different experience as an actor? Because, you know, typically you're moving. It sounds like you had two houses, but like typically you're moving from one location to the next. Does it make it sort of like a more intimate experience for the cast when you are sort of all holed up in one place for so long?
I can't say for sure that it makes it a more intimate experience. I think it's intimate anyways, but in some ways, but it is a more pleasant experience, I think. Obviously, you can go stir crazy, and if the location sucks, then you're really in trouble. But if it's pleasant enough, you know, you have your makeshift home base, or where's my chair, and I'll leave my book and phone there, and then I'll go, that's crap, and like that's the bathroom, that's craft service, and you know, it's kind of nice to get a little bit of, for me anyways, a little bit of routine and not move and. Okay, now I'm going to hang out in this restaurant kitchen for the day, like back by the, you know, the sink, and that's where I'll be today and then tomorrow. Like, it's nice to kind of know your world environment, even for a week or two, for me. So, you know, in that regard, I like it. And also the crew, it's way easier because, you know, you're not moving the equipment everywhere all the time. Right. But, you know, does it make it for more intimate? I suppose that's maybe more specific to the exact place.
But it's good for budget.
It's good for budget.
Very good.
It's amazing for budget.
Yes.
If you ever want to write a low budget movie, just take place in one spot.
Yeah. Set it all in your backyard, basically. Big year for you on the big screen, not only Ready or Not, but earlier this spring we saw you. I think we can say this now. I know it was kind of kept under wraps for a little bit, right? It was very wise.
I wasn't allowed to. We weren't allowed to say anything.
You weren't allowed to say anything. But it's on streaming now. It's on DVD. We can say you're in Shazam.
Yeah.
They saw Shazam.
Yeah. I'm in Shazam.
How did this come about? What can you tell us about this?
You know, that was a very secretive, even from me, kind of process where you're auditioning for Shazam. Don't worry about what. A grown-up of one of the kids. Here's sides the sides read like Jim Carrey kind of like cable guy. So I mean they're made up. The writer who wrote the movie wrote the audition scenes, but they were had no relation to the movie. Just some broad comedy they wanted to kind of see. And you know, I went in a little office and put it on tape and left and didn't really think about it or hear because it's such a big thing and I didn't have any inside information. I felt like I was kind of like, you know, filling something out and sending it in the mail and honestly not really thinking about it. And then like a month later, I got a call that I got it. Like, oh. Cool.
The casting, I will say, was impeccable. You played the superfied Freddy,
Yeah.
the older version of Jack Dylan Grazer.
Yeah.
He is. I mean, that kid is a talent. But are you looking at all at his performance, considering you're playing?
Yeah, you know, I sort of. I mean, I wanted to. And I got there when we were ready to shoot. And I'm like, wait, can I just see? Like, we're about to go, but can I see? Like, and David, the director's like, oh, you want to? Yeah, okay. And he played me some. I'm like, okay, thank you. Yeah. And the truth of the matter is, my stuff in the movie is so minimal that I didn't have that much opportunity to really. And they did it. They already did it with us casting. You know, they cast it right to where, in a way, I didn't have to, you know, try too much. Our energies are similar, and it just sort of worked out very naturally. But yeah, I'd like to tell you that I shadowed him for 6 months and became him, but I didn't.
Yeah. Well, fans have pointed this out, and I know David has talked about it a little as well. But kind of like a homecoming or a return to DC in a lot of ways. You were at one point the Flash in George Miller's Justice League movie, which unfortunately never came to be. But was that ever sort of discussed, or was that sort of in the back of your mind when you took this on, that you were returning to DC?
DJ Catrona is in it too, and he was going to be Superman. So we spent a few weeks together in Australia a decade ago.
Yeah.
And I'm getting old. I just throw words around like decade and 20 years all the time now. Yeah. Everything, if it's not less than 10 years ago, it's nothing to me. Anyways, and so, yeah, I mean, you know, it wasn't necessarily to us so symbolic that the DC universe or whatever, it was just, but it was funny, and it was nice that we had that in common. And here we are again, fight training, you know, and getting our tights fitted. It was our super suits. It was no, I mean it was a thrill, and it was nice. It was a nice full circle situation. I mean, you know.
I mean, clearly you guys were fated to be in the DCEU, clearly. But what can you tell us? Like, what do you remember about that experience the first time around? Was that a major drag when that didn't pan out?
Yes. However, you know, and in hindsight, I should have been more bummed. I really liked it, but I just kind of felt like, you know, no big deal, the next thing, and then it kind of did, but it kind of didn't. You know, nothing like that came along again. Yeah. But I, at the time, I'll say this: the script was really good. It was it's not that it was revolutionary, but it just, and I'm pretty objective about this kind of thing, and I think I have a pretty good gauge of scripts. And it was very solid, and they cast it. I thought the casting was right, not just myself, but like everyone tonally is going to fit right. And I mean, I was so excited to work with George Miller, and at the same time, because he was a legend and he was very nice. Yeah. But at the same time, nobody, I mean, I didn't have any idea. I bet Warner Brothers didn't have any idea what a fucking badass he still was, because he hadn't made a live action movie in like 15 years. Yeah. I mean, he'd made like Babe 2 was the more, you know, and Happy Feet. Yeah. And so, yeah, he's the like Australian Spielberg, but who knows? And then, you know, you see Mad Max now, and you're like, oh my God, he's as fresh as anyone. I mean, he's ahead of the curve. I mean, so, you know, in hindsight, it hurts more, actually, because I'm like, that would have been a classic movie.
After seeing what he did.
After seeing what he did, and knowing the script, and knowing the, you know, and knowing the actors involved, and I think it would have been amazing. Also, I will say that although in this version I was very well suited to this script's version of The Flash, and I grew up reading comics, I read them a lot even in my 20s, love them, know a lot about that stuff. I was never actually a Flash reader or fan, so I didn't have a particular affinity for that part. It didn't kill me in that way, but it was written, we would have been a nice match very well. And yeah, I swear in hindsight it hurts more than it did at the time. At the time, I was like, it was also a slow fade out, because it was like 2 weeks, okay, they lost the tax credit, there's the writer's strike, we're gonna go back after Christmas, you know, we were there for 2 weeks, and then I was like, go back because it's Christmas, and then we'll all come back out in 2 weeks and 3 weeks and get going. And then, okay, well, maybe it's gonna be a week later, okay, well, the writer's strike, and then it kind of faded out. It wasn't like we were all there and then got our got our pink slips or something.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But I mean, let's look forward, because the way Shazam ends, it seems to imply you guys are going to come back. Have you guys talked about a sequel?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard enthusiastic rumblings and more so, but I definitely don't know anything official.
Yeah.
But I would say that it's
It's likely.
it seems likely and warranted, and I'm very excited.
Awesome.
Hope we do.
Nice. Well, reboots all the rage. I mean, they always are. Especially in TV, we're seeing a lot of stuff come back. 90210 is making a lot of headlines. Full House, Gilmore Girls. Is the OC ever going to come back? What do you think?
I would imagine at some point they will use the property, for to do in some way, as I have, I'm all for. I mean, I don't mind these reboots or even remakes, or I don't know. I mean, yes, it kind of clouds. Does it take away from maybe more original ideas? Maybe, but I even get excited at the remake in RoboCop. Cool, that's fun. So yeah. I mean, I imagine they'll do something with it.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, give the people what they want, and there's obviously an appetite for these shows to return. Misha Barton has said she would come back. I'm not sure how that would work, because I think we can say what happened to her, right?
Right. Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Ooh,
Is
kind of a supernatural
is she like a
twist.
ghost, Marissa?
Yeah.
I don't know what's
See, I didn't know the way back into the story, but if you throw in a supernatural angle,
yeah.
I mean, look. All that said, I'm not going to be in. I don't have any interest in revisiting my high school character.
Yeah.
And frankly speaking, for Ben McKenzie, I know he doesn't either. So,
Yeah. So you would politely sit it out.
yeah, and it feels silly because this isn't a real thing. How dare I turn down fake work? But I'm just saying, creatively, I'm not that interested.
Gotcha.
And where.
Yeah, got you. Well, we've got a lot of your fans in the building tonight, so we're going to open it up to the floor for some audience Q&A. Who is first?
Hi, Adam. My name's Helene.
Hi.
I'm watching you since season 3 of Yossi when I
Cool.
was in middle school. Yeah. You're the classic still. I got the DVDs. I'm wondering, what was it like being Seth Cohen when it began the series? It got more popular. I knew it was better.
What was It was. I don't know. It was one of the. I mean, except for now, it was one of the other great times in my life. I mean, I feel like It was wonderful. I feel like I'm probably in my most satisfied and happy place now. But that was. It was a pretty whimsical time. Also, long time ago, 2003, that's pre-social media. Didn't feel that same level of scrutiny. I have no idea what it'd be like to be I wasn't a teen, but to be like a kid-ish young star now. I think it would come with a lot more responsibility and a lot more scrutiny. So I had that benefit of being able to kind of still stay in a bubble and, of course, enjoy it, but I don't recall like that feeling like drawbacks from it at all. I didn't feel hemmed in from it. I didn't feel stereotyped or pigeonholed by it. I never have. I mean, for all my occasional uninterest in talking about it, and I am interested in talking about it, but occasionally it's been a long time, and it's understandably what people mostly want to talk about, and I'm mostly down for it. At the same time, it's never it's only helped me in my life and career, and I'm really thankful for it.
That's sort of the blessing and the curse of the hit TV show, right? It's gonna do great things for your career, but you're never gonna stop talking about it as long as people still love it.
No, but what felt good actually, because I've worked consistently since then, but not in nothing that people have seen to the degree that they've seen that show. And then I did Shazam, and that was probably the first thing in a long time that people have seen on a wide scale in the same way as that show. And just on Twitter, there was so much goodwill for that character. And, you know, because that's what people know me from. And, like, people seeing me or that character or we're synonymous with each other again. And I really felt that, and it felt good. You know, I was thankful for, I really got to see, like, in one kind of little moment, people's affection for that character, that time, that show, and it was sort of lavished on me, and I was very thankful for it, and it felt very good.
Great. Who's next? Question 2.
Me.
Hi.
Hi, and that's my twin sister. People watch the OC. I was wondering what it was like to work with Jennifer Morrison on Some Girls and The Grind.
Yeah, Jen's a friend, and she's a really good person. I've known her before Grind. I knew her even a couple years before that. I have a hazy recollection of, like, even a date once, I think, when we were like 20. Maybe like one date, maybe. I mean, it's a little blurry, but I think so. Sweet person, and we have some friends in common too. And she's someone that I'm, you know, occasionally in touch with. And yeah, we've gotten to work together a couple times now, and I'm sure we'll do it again. And I guess, to answer your question succinctly, what was it like to work with her? Comfortable.
There you go. We got one more question for you. Hi.
Hey, I'm really excited to see Ready or Not.
Cool, thanks.
Being that it's about games, I wanted to know what your favorite board game is.
Oh. You know, I'm not that much of it. My wife loves a good board game. I don't even know. I've been playing a lot of Candyland with my daughter. She mostly gets it. You know, there's not much strategy involved. Yeah. So that's the one I've been doing recently. Monopoly looks cool, but I haven't really dipped my toe in as an adult, so that's coming up. I did a few years ago play Settlers. That was with some friends one night. That was cool. That's a board game, right? That counts. It's like sort of role-playing, or not role-playing, but, like, you know, it seems like it's a board game. Anyways, I mean, it wasn't. You're not going around a track, but yeah, Settlers was cool. But I don't know. I'll just watch TV to answer your question. What's yours?
Clue or Monopoly?
Clue or Monopoly? Yeah. Great. Well, Monopoly I'm going to get into.
The problem with all those board games is they can go on forever. Like, I have daughters, and I play Candyland, and, like, you just keep going. You keep
going back. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Come on, somebody's got to win this game already. Monopoly too. You'll go for hours.
Monopoly, I learned recently, if I may, was so Milton Bradley. Why do I know this? I don't know. Went down like an internet wormhole. Milton Bradley was who invented that, and then many more.
Yeah.
Came from, like, a very religious, as almost everybody did in 1900, but a super religious family and Puritan or something. And so it was, I'm getting it confused with Life. But let me continue.
Yeah, go.
I'm getting confused with Life, but Life started as his parents were upset that he was getting into games, and it was frivolous, and it wasn't, you know, a good it was immoral. And so Life, I think, was originally called A Moral Life, and it had the bent of, like, this is kind of how you get into heaven, this is how you do good, and then it branched off from there. And now we have this.
Yeah, did he ever try to kill his daughter-in-law? That's the question. Well, Ready or Not, guys, is going to be in theaters August 21st. Adam, thank you so much for being here today. Great
Thanks
to talk
a lot.
to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming.
We'll see you next time.